Relatives have been speaking today about the moment police officers stopped a funeral procession and took away the coffin. The police in Essex wanted to examine the dead man as part of an inquiry. They've explained their actions, but the family say they were left shocked and distraught.
Stuart Smith should have been laid to rest after it was said he died from a drug overdose. Instead, his body is in Colchester mortuary, awaiting toxicology tests. His funeral cortege was due at Colchester Crematorium, but police removed his body from the hearse as mourners, including his partner and 5 children, waited for the service to start.
It's bad enough losing someone, and then having to arrange a funeral, that's even worse. And then getting it stopped. And then I had to tell my 5 kids that we can't say bye to Daddy.
Stuart Smith was a recovering heroin addict with a criminal record. He was arrested last month in Colchester on suspicion of threats to kill his partner's mother. He was charged with sending an offensive message. 3 days later, he was dead. Questions are now being asked on whether officers used excessive force during his arrest, which, unknown at the time, was captured on CCTV.
They had it, a week before then? So why didn't they see to it the week they got it? But no, they had to do it on the funeral day.
In a statement, Essex Police say one officer is on restricted duties and one has been suspended while inquiries continue. The incident has been referred to the Independent Police Complaints Commission and they're carrying out a supervised investigation. Floral tributes intended for his funeral have been left wilting in the family's garden. Essex Police have agreed to pay for the cost of the cancelled funeral. Debbie Tubby, BBC Look East, Colchester.
Train services across the region are expected to continue as normal despite the collapse of a takeover bid for the rail operator National Express. The company runs all services from the eastern region into Liverpool Street Station, plus the East Coast Main Line. Its East Anglian and C2C rail routes were due to go to its rival Stagecoach, backed by a Spanish consortium. They've now pulled out of the deal.
The East Anglian service should be a pretty smooth service. It should be one that a company can make a reasonable return from. So we're looking more towards sort of what's going on in the city at the moment with a recession on and all those uncertainties. That's probably what's derailed this deal this morning.
Southend is bidding to become Britain's first City of Culture in 2013. The title has been created by the government after millions of pounds were generated when Liverpool became the European capital of culture.
Southend, it's a town of contrasts, from Georgian buildings to seafront amusements. But has it got what it takes to become the first UK City of Culture?
We feel it's a golden opportunity to improve the perceptions of Southend-on-Sea. We love to have our day visitors here. We love the sunshine that we've got today, but there are many things going on in Southend-on-Sea which we feel will add to the regeneration of the town.
And it's up against nearly 30 other areas. Securing the title would mean hosting national cultural events. Local artists are confident Southend already has a wide variety of culture.
We're really looking forward to getting masses of creative people together in small groups and large groups to actually really think about what this whole process could mean for Southend, to get some fantastic ideas for programme on the table and kind of engender that excitement.
But can the town shake off its Kiss Me Quick image?
Well, it'll be an interesting sort of comparison with Southend's existing sort of it's all seafront and light.
I think it's a good place to be a city of culture. We've got the world's longest pier, which is always good.
If they build it up, loads more people will come down for the history of Southend.
So will Essex's largest seaside town be enough to impress the judges? The winner will be announced in spring. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East, Southend.
The new football stadium in Colchester has won a top award from the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. It was commended in the category for community benefit for the facilities for the town as well as for the football club. The stadium was opened in 2008 and cost £14 million to build. It was built in a partnership between the club, the local council and some government money.
In football, Norwich City are away to Leeds United, Colchester are at Wycombe and Southend entertain Bristol Rovers. For Ipswich Town, it's 2 home games in 4 days in which to record their first win. Today, manager Roy Keane was in optimistic mood.
Do I look relaxed?
You do actually look relaxed.
I'm relaxed. I'm enjoying it. fairly contented. I'm obviously happy with the challenge and looking forward to it.
A very different Roy Keane to the one we saw at Barnsley 2 weeks ago.
Are you going to stay on?
I refuse to answer that question.
We'll take that as a yes then.
Take it whatever you want.
Thank you.
But then his team had just lost 2-1 to make it 11 games without a win. And a man who follows Ipswich around the country says the fans' goodwill could be coming to an end.
I'd like to think that, no, their heads won't be turned if Town don't win in either of these two games, but I have to be honest, and I think that if they don't get a win from either Swansea on Saturday or Tuesday night's game against Watford, in my heart of hearts, I do think a number of fans will now start to think, we really are going to struggle this season, is it time to change the manager?
Ultimately, as I said, we have to get results on the Saturday, and that's tomorrow, and let's not worry about Tuesday. You know, we're in no position to be taking any team for granted. You know, we've not won in 11 in terms of league matches. You know, again, treat Swansea with the respect they deserve, and if we prepare as well as we can, then please God we get the result.
Keane says conceding goals is a mental issue. He hopes the break has concentrated his team's minds. And Janet Gadgill, BBC Look East.
You're watching Look East from the BBC. Coming.
As we've seen over the past year, the recession has taken its toll throughout the region's economy. Today, the headquarters of Britain's racing industry warned it was also struggling.
The sport attracts the sort of people who can afford to spend millions of pounds on one thoroughbred horse. One trainer claimed today the sport was in terminal decline. From Newmarket, this report from Tom Williams.
A bright but chilly autumnal day on the Rowley Mile. But that doesn't stop hardened racegoers. Excitement's building for both horses and trainers on the eve of Champions Day, the grand finale in the flat racing calendar. Quite a spectacle, but the outlook for the sport appears bleak.
Flat racing has got fantastic horses, great racing, but it's very badly structured. The fixture list needs to be restructured, redefined, to make it more interesting, more to follow. The jump racing has done it. Same needs to be done in flat racing. It's not an impossible task. It's merely restructuring the fixture list with the racecourses to make it work better.
Attendances at the home of racing in Newmarket are holding up well, despite the recession. 250,000 people have come through the gates this season, slightly down on last year. Over £1.2 million is at stake tomorrow, but elsewhere, flat racing is struggling.
You've got to be concerned, definitely. I mean, the levy and the money coming into racing to fund prize money is dropping, and there's got to be ways how we market it to a younger audience. There'll always be the older generation that have been racing for years and years, but there seems to be a gap in the younger generation.
Newmarket have tackled this with their summer concerts. Friday night racing followed by live music. A hit with a younger, newer audience, introduced before the economic downturn.
We've got to just ride through what is a period when people are more wary about where to spend their leisure pound. They haven't got as many leisure pounds as they had a couple of years ago. So getting people to come for a day out for races is still very attractive to a lot of people.
If you don't change, you end up like the dinosaur, stuffed. So racing, yes, has got to change, but it must incorporate the best of the old.
With the path to extinction not an option, there's growing acceptance of a need for change so future generations can enjoy the champions of tomorrow. Tom Williams, BBC Look East, Newmarket.